Welcome back everyone. Quickly, let's continue our discussion on CSS height, width, and max width property in deep details. If you are here to know about the height property easily, this is the right tutorial for you guys, please. So right now we'll be discussing about the CSS height property in details. The CSS height property sets the area inside the padding, border, and margin of the element. So I'm going to show you how this works quickly. Back to our document, we are having this in our previous tutorial. As you can see, in our previous tutorial, we discussed about the CSS margin, CSS border, CSS padding. CSS margin is the one you are seeing outside of the border of this red border, and the CSS border is the one is this red thing you are seeing right here, and the CSS padding is the white space you are seeing right here inside the border. And also we are having the content along with the height and width and all that. So I'm going to be specifying the height property inside this place so you can recognize it anywhere you find it. Back to our code. As you can see, we are having this in our previous tutorial. This is the code we are having. So right now I'm going to specify the height value inside this place, but before I do that, let me firstly assign height to one div element. As you can see, I'm having this div element right here immediately at the top of our first fit set. It should appear around here, somewhere around here. Now let's reload our document. Maybe it will reflect. Can you see? By default, it's not showing, it's not reflecting. Unless you write anything inside here, that's when the height and the width going to apply to it automatically. Can you see? Now our element is having height and width automatically. How can you know also the specific height and the width of this element? We can give it border, or we can give it background color. So when I give it let me give this div element background color. Let me give it background color. Yes, if I give it background color of blue, then you are going to see the accumulate, like the amount of width and height it accumulates inside our body element. Now let's reload. Can you see? This is the amount of the width is here. Definitely it's taking like 100%. Let's call it 100%. This is width of 100%, and the height is automatic because the height is by default. We don't see anything, but until we add something there, that's when we see something. That's why we are saying it's by default automatic. So that is to say, the more everything we specify inside our element right here is increasing, the more our height is going to be increasing. I'm trying to duplicate a lot of hello here so you can be able to see what will happen. So now let's reload. Can you see? When I reload my document, as you can see, I'm having a lot of hello here. The width is increasing automatically. Can you see? So the same thing goes to height. So let's say now inside this place, now I try to break it like this, break it small, break it small. You understand what I'm talking about? By default, this is automatically done for us. So I'm going to be breaking this gently for you guys. Now as you can see, I break it like this so you guys can see this one, right? By default it's automatically done for us, right? I'm trying to break it so you guys can see what will happen. Can you see? When I break it, it's break itself. Just imagine. So that's how you can know that this is automatically increasing, the height is automatically increasing, while the width is this one from the left to your right, but from the top to the bottom, that's your height. As you can see, the height is automatically increased. That is the scope behind all this. Let me give our element color so you can see. We have discussed about color. I'm going to give this white color so you can see how it works easily. Can you see? This is having white color now. As you can see, now we are able to see the height is taken. So let's now say, for instance, now we don't even want to do it in this hard way. We just want to do it in easy way using some of the elements which is coming, some of the default elements from the HTML. Let's say we write hello right here, and we want to break the page like this. We can break it by using this BR element, and we want to write another hello again. break the page again, you can use br element, write another hello again, break the page by using the br element. Let's save our document and see. Can you see we're having 1 2 3, we're having 3 line breaks, and the height is automatically increased. When I remove one of these breaks, this one is having 1 2 3. When I remove this one now, let's say for instance I remove this first one, the second break, can you see? When I remove the second break, can you see what happens? So definitely when I remove the third break, which is this one, you are going to see the height will decrease again. Reload. Can you see the height decrease again? So the more you are having more elements inside this place, definitely you should know that that's how it will be increased. And now say for instance now you don't write it in this manner, we had another element. By default, another element will have its own default height and weight also. So when I save this, just because this one is always set to default, we don't see anything yet. So definitely when we write hello again inside this one, it's going to act as well. Can you see automatically when I keep anything inside this hello again, and I give this one div element again, I write hello again, you are going to see what will happen again. Can you see it automatically increase? So again also it doesn't concern this one also. This one, the height of this one is not concerned this one. This one can have its own height again. Let's give it h1 so you can see. Hello, can you see it doesn't concern it. It will keep on working the same way it's supposed to work. So let's say for instance now I give it div element also, this one also will keep increasing. Let me give it like this. Can you see? Because they are having the same height size by default, that's why you can't see the reflection. Or let's say we are using another element like h1 h2 tag, the height is going to increase very well, and the font of the element is going to bold. Can you see? So this one is inside this hello. How can you know that one is inside another one? You can give this one a class name of inside. Let's call it inside. Let's come inside our CSS right here and specify something. Let's call this inside and give it a property. Let's give it border. So you can see 2 pixel solid red. Now save your document and come inside here, reload. Can you see? Now we are able to see that this is inside here, and we can move it to anywhere we want. You can increase the border so you can see that it's really inside it. Let's give it 10 pixel so you can see. Can you see? No matter the amount of this element, it will always be inside this our div element, because the div element is having its default value of increasing the height. It will be increasing the height, and the width will always be in 100%. So no matter if you decrease the amount of this, the width of this one, let's say we give it width, of 29 pixel. Let's give it 29 pixel. Reload. Can you see? Now it's not affecting this our first div element. No, that's how the height and width works in deep details. This, I want you guys to understand this. That's why I'm killing it in gentle form like this. Can you see when I give it 100%, it's not affecting this one at all, from nowhere. Let me give it background color so you can see that it's never going to affect the element inside it. Background color, let's give it yellow green. Load our document. Can you see? It's never affect the element inside it. Let's say even the element outside it, like this one now. This one is another element entirely. Let's say we have this hello like 2. Let's have another one hello. You're going to see they are going to be on the same line. Can you see? This one is on the same line, but this one is another element entirely. That's why it's not taking the color. Hence, you give this one also extra value. They are not affecting each other in any ways. So please, I want you guys to understand this. That is definitely, you should know that by default the height of this, let's give it height now, so you can now see the reflection of the height is by default having auto. When it's have auto value, you are going to see the default value. As you can see, the auto height is this. So because we are not selecting, this one is another element. When we remove this one, let's say for instance now we remove this div element right here, you are going to see by default, can you see the auto value is going to decrease the element because we are removing it. So as you can see, this value right here now is having its own value by default. I don't think you can get the point, so I'm going to show you more tricks how you can know this very well now, because this is very important to know. If you don't know it, you may have some difficulty when you are writing some things sometimes. So let me decrease this one right here so I can explain it in deep details. Let's say for instance now, this is our body element right here. I'm going to use it with it. Let's say this is our body. Let's reload our document first. As you can see, we are having this our body element. Now this is our body element. Let's give it height of 0. We are going to see what will happen. Let's give 0 pixel, because we give it 0, it may not work. Let's really, can you see? When I give it a height of 0, you know that all this white space is supposed to go finally, but because we have specified padding, and the padding is also having white space, so that's why we are seeing this padding. This white space we are now seeing right here is the space of the padding. So when we remove the padding, definitely it will only remain the height and the width, and also the border. Now let me remove the padding so you can see. When I remove this padding right now, as you can see, I've removed the padding out of this thing. Now let's reload. Can you see? We are no more seeing the padding. So the padding is the one that let me bring it back. That is taking this 20 pixel page. Can you see? Here is the space of the padding. So if we want to give it a height now, we can now increase our height. If we want, we can give it 50 pixel. It will add to it. Can you see? So the height will be increasing automatically. Let's give it 100 pixel. Can you see? It's increasing. When we give it 300 pixel, can you see? It's increasing. Or when we give it 400 pixel, it increase entirely, right? But if you don't want to be increasing it gently like that, you can just specify auto value. That's what I'm here for right now. This auto value, if you specify it inside this plane, it's going to be the same. Let's reload. Can you see? It will now set your document normally. Can you see when I give it auto? So it just accumulates the minimum amount of space it needs to occupy another element inside your. So whenever you're adding more elements inside this thing, instead of you specifying 20 pixel or 100 pixel, whenever you are specifying more elements inside this thing now, let's add some elements again so you can see. Let's say for instance you are having this multiple element, multiple fit set element. Now let's reload our document. Can you see it automatically increase by default? But let's say for instance now you now say you want to control this by yourself. You don't want it to automatically increase. That's when you can use values right here. You just use, when you give it 300 pixel like we did earlier, you're going to see the height is going to decrease. Can you see? When you give it 100 pixel, let's give it 100 pixel, the height is going to decrease again. Can you see? So let's just say for instance now we decrease it to reach 10 pixel. Let's give it 0 pixel. When I give it 0 pixel, can you see it reach this level, and we are still seeing this white. We'll be thinking that this thing should control everything now, but because the padding is also outside of our height or width, so that's why we have to clean this padding also, because in case we want to remove all the white space inside our border. So when we remove the padding, reload. Can you see now the height is working for us now? So let's now say for instance now we now want to increase anything. We can now increase it. Maybe we need 300 pixel. Can you see? Well, maybe we say we need 100 pixel. Can you see? So maybe we say we need auto value. When I save it, you are going to see it's going to cover all the elements inside our body element. Can you see? It increases the height up to the element. Let us know the amount of elements inside our inside our body element. That is the benefit of using the value of auto inside your height element. So practice this, please, because if you don't practice, nobody can do that for you. And you can use margin also if you don't want to use the padding. So let me show you something now. Let's say for instance now we are having only padding. Let's reload our document. Can you see? When we are having only padding, as you can see right here, the space around here plenty. And also the padding, let's say for instance now you gave it 0 pixel. The 0 pixel of the padding doesn't affect the height of this element. As you can see, we gave it 0 pixel. As you can see, the 0 pixel of it did not affect the height of the element itself, because the height of the element is having auto by default. So when I give it height here, I give it auto, it's also going to be the same thing. So definitely we don't need to give it height of auto again. As you can see, by default this thing is having height of auto. So definitely right here now, if you now specify maybe 300 pixel right here, definitely it's only you are trying to control the height now. Definitely your document can look somehow. Can you see? Now your document is looking somehow. So you should be aware of it. This padding is the one that you will see immediately after the height. After the height, you find padding. After the padding, you find border. So let's give it like this. After the padding, you find border, and after the border, you find margin. I don't think you are getting the point very well. So border is very nice when you have it in this manner. This is how we should organize our code. Right from today, if you want to organize your thing, organize the margin first. After the margin, you can control the padding. After the margin, you can control the border. After you have specified the border you want, then you can specify the padding. You can control the padding. After the padding, then you can now control the height. So as you can see, the height of our document now is looking the same when I rearrange it also. So for you to understand how everything goes one by one, after the margin you find border, after the border you find. So let's say for instance I remove this border radius right here. It doesn't affect my document. Let's reload. Can you see? It's not affecting my document. So after the margin you find border, after the border you find padding, after the padding you find height or width, so and so on. So if you don't use margin, if you don't use border also, your height is still going to work for you. Let's remove padding and height. Let's remove all these things again. Let's use only our height again. Can you see? When we are using when we remove all these things, but we are not able to see it. So how can we see the height of our element? We can use background color. Let me remove this background image right now and use background color. When we use background color, we give it yellow. We give it blue or yellow. Let's give it yellow. Let me save my document. Can you see the height of this element right here? Can you see what happened right here? Is it yellow? I gave it yellow green. Yes, I gave it yellow green. But this height right here is having, instead of it to be at the auto, we gave it 300 pixels, right? Now let's save it. You see another way it reflects again. This is very funny. So right now another thing happens again. What do you notice that happened right here? Let's say for instance now we gave this one 0 pixel. Now we give it the 0 pixel. Can you see? We are not able to see the reflection of the height again. Can you see? The height is now automatically there. But one thing that makes you define anything like border like this, you don't enter height level with that. Let's give it 23 pixel. Let's give it solid. Let's give it red. Let's save our document so you can see what will happen. Can you see? So definitely the height is working along with the border, because now let's say we now increase the height now. we give it 30, we give it 33 pixels. Let's give it 33 pixels. Reload. Can you see it's working along with the border? When you have a border of an element, you can now have more authority to use the height. But if you don't have the border, forget it. So definitely, if you have border element, that's when you can use this height. If you don't have border element in your document, I don't think you need it again. You don't really need it at all. But if you're having border, maybe you want to control the border along with the padding, along with the margin and all that, then you can specify your height. I don't think you are getting the point. So let's say for instance now we use width. We are going to see what will happen. Let's give it 33 pixels. Delete all this one. Let's save our document. Let's reload. Can you see? It's only working with the border of your element. It is not working with the element by default. Or else you have this border. Let's say we remove this border now and reload our document. Can you see? It's only controlling the width of this element inside it. Any element inside it. So definitely it's not our background color now. Nothing affects it at all. So to practice this, so you can be able to understand how all this works, because it works in different ways in different elements. We haven't reached the width. I purposely show you that little thing, but this height entirely is working with the border for you to see the reflection of the height in your element. Let's reload it again so you can see. Can you see? When we specify height of 33, our element is not increasing more than 33. Let's give it 300 pixels. Can you see? It's only our border that is increasing. The element inside our body element is not increasing. So that's when you should know that it's only working when you're having what? When you're having border there. So let's reload our document. Let's remove it. Can you see? When we don't have it, we don't have any problem with our document by default. It's already been set for us. Let's say for instance we have this blue violet here. Let's give it blue violet. Reload. Can you see? We don't have any problem with our document when we don't specify it at all. But one thing that makes you specify border like this, let's say specify height again and give it 777 pixels. Reload your document. Can you see? It's not even giving out any value. Unless you give this your element a border. If you mistakenly give it a border like this, you don't enter and with that. Solid. Let's give it solid. And give it color red. Let's reload our document now. Can you see? Now we are having this height controlling our border. It will control your border by the force. Let me give it this border 33 pixels so you can be able to see the amount of the border variable. Can you see? The border is now having 100 pixels size, 100 pixels height. Let me decrease it again. Reach 7 pixels. Can you see the 7 pixels? Let me give it 100 pixels. Can you see? That's what one thing I want you. If you can watch this tutorial from the beginning to the end like this, you'll be able to know some scope behind this. So this is controlling the border, the padding, the margin and all that, but it's not controlling the some other things unless you specify it. So the same thing happen with, let's say we specify padding right here. Padding, we give it by default we give it 100 pixels. We now reload. This padding is there now, but if you notice very well, this is not controlling our padding. Let's give it 10. Reload. Can you see? When you give it 0 like this, you will think it will control. It will never control your padding. Can you see? It is not controlling your padding again. So try this thing very well, because you may have it. I don't want you guys to be having difficulty using it. Now let's say you give it auto now. When you give it auto, benefit of using the auto, I mean, it will automatically resize this your border and the padding at once. It will automatically resize your border and padding to meet up with all these elements we are having inside our body element. Let's reload now. Can you see? The padding and the margin, everything we specify is now fit inside our inside our document. Now let me Let me remove this color so you can see it clearly. Can you see now? Now our element is full inside this thing. But if just say for instance now, you don't have this border, you don't have any problem with that. If you don't have any border, you don't have anything, any problem with this. Let me reload it. Can you see? Let me remove the auto also so you can see what I'm talking about. When I remove the auto, by default is because it's auto. Can you see? So definitely when you don't have border in your element, most of times you don't have any problem with this. You shouldn't give yourself headache. So that's one of the things I have to show you guys. It's been a long time. This has been a long video. I've been finding a little way I can explain this that will not take me much time, but I think this is the highly recommended way of explaining this to you guys. Please try this in with different elements so you can see how it reacts. So that's what I want to show you guys. Anwar Akorede is my name. Once again, I wish to see you guys next time to the next tutorial. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Until the next. Peace and love.